You lie beneath the quiet canopy of night. Above you, the sky breathes, an ocean of stillness stretching farther than thought can reach. The stars are not just points of light. They are ancient memories, messages sent long before you were born. Each one carries a story, a whisper of something vast, something waiting. You take a slow breath. The air feels cool, soft, filled with distance. As your eyelids grow heavy, your mind drifts upward, past the clouds, past the humming atmosphere, into a silence so complete it feels like the universe is holding its breath. There, in that infinite hush, the story of exoplanets begins. For most of human history, the sky was a boundary, a canvas of mystery. People looked up and wondered if there were other worlds circling those distant suns. Were there other skies, other dawns, other oceans under alien moons? The idea felt too bold, too beautiful. For centuries, it lived only in imagination. You imagine ancient astronomers tracing constellations with bare eyes, naming the stars, sensing but never seeing what lay beyond them. They believed the heavens were perfect, unchanging, a crystalline sphere of eternal light. Planets known, then Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, were wanderers, visible to the naked eye. But beyond them, the void seemed endless, empty. Yet even emptiness can whisper. And curiosity has a gravity of its own. As you drift deeper into the story, time moves like a tide. Centuries pass, and the telescope is born. In a darkened room in the 17th century, Galileo lifts a slender tube toward the moon and sees its craters, its shadows, proof that even the heavens are imperfect, textured, alive. Others follow. They turn their lenses to the stars, searching for what the eye alone cannot find. Still, no one sees another world. The stars remain single points, distant and unyielding. Each light could have a planet, but how could anyone tell? The distances are unimaginable. To see a planet around another star would be like trying to spot a firefly beside a floodlight. From thousands of miles away, you feel that difficulty, the impossibility, as you breathe slowly. The vastness presses gently around you. The universe is large, not to hide itself, but to invite patience. It is now the late 20th century. Telescopes have grown larger, their eyes sharper. Computers hum with data, turning faint light into meaning. Astronomers begin to wonder if maybe, just maybe, they can detect a planet indirectly, not by seeing it, but by feeling its presence. In 1995, that presence reveals itself around a star called 51 Pegasi. Something small and invisible tugs. The star wobbles, a subtle, rhythmic motion, as though dancing with an unseen partner. By measuring that wobble, scientists realize what it means. A planet, massive and close, orbiting faster than anything in our solar system. A world beyond our sun has been confirmed. The first exoplanet, a discovery so delicate, so astonishing, that it changes astronomy forever. You picture that moment, not as a burst of noise or light, but as a single, quiet realization, a light bulb flickering in the dark of human understanding. The first light beyond our sky. You float closer to that star in your mind, 51 Pegasi, shimmering in the constellation Pegasus. Its planet, named 51 Pegasi b, is strange and fierce, a hot Jupiter, a gas giant orbiting so close to its star that a year there lasts only for Earth days. The planet's clouds boil. Its skies shimmer with heat. It is not a place for life as you know it, but that doesn't matter. Its discovery means something greater. We are not alone in being planetary. For every star in the sky, there might be worlds, thousands, millions, billions of them. The night suddenly feels more crowded, more alive. You close your eyes and imagine them. Planets circling red dwarfs, blue giants, yellow suns, worlds with icy rings and iron rain, deserts of glass, oceans of methane, each orbiting quietly, unseen, waiting for light to reveal them. The telescope becomes your vessel now. You drift through time again, through the decades after that first discovery. New instruments rise from Earth's surface, their mirrors glinting in the thin air of mountaintops. In orbit, satellites open their eyes, free from atmospheric haze. The Kepler Space Telescope, launched in 2009, begins its patient vigil. Kepler does not look for fireflies in floodlights. It looks for shadows, tiny dips in starlight as planets pass in front of their suns. Each dimming is a heartbeat, a whisper that says, "Here, another one." Over 9 years, Kepler finds more than 2,600 confirmed exoplanets, worlds larger than Jupiter, smaller than Earth, some too hot, some too cold, and a few just right. The habitable zone becomes a soft phrase in your mind, the region where water might flow, where life could stir. You imagine the data flowing from that spacecraft, a stream of light curves, small fluctuations that, together, form a cosmic lullaby. Each curve is a promise, each dip a new possibility. The stars are speaking now, and humanity is learning to listen. You drift through the silence between stars, a silence not empty, but full of stories waiting to be told. You think of how every discovery begins not with certainty, but with wonder. Science, at its heart, is a kind of dream, one that never fully ends when you wake. As your body relaxes, you imagine your breath syncing with the rhythm of the universe, slow, steady, endless. Inhale, expansion. Exhale, stillness. Galaxies turn. Stars are born. Planets coalesce from dust. Everything that once was silence becoming form. There's a warmth in realizing that our sun is not special, not alone. It is one among billions, each surrounded by its own family of planets. When you look at the night sky, you are looking not at distant points, but at entire systems, entire stories, and perhaps on some of those worlds, other beings look back, wondering the same thing. That thought is gentle, not frightening. It feels like connection, a thread that stretches across light years, woven through curiosity itself. You begin to sense how fragile Earth is and how precious. For all our searching, no other world has yet been found that feels quite like home. Blue oceans, green forests, breathable air, they are miracles of balance. But the search continues, because to seek is part of what it means to be alive. You can almost hear the scientists whispering in their observatories, their computers blinking softly in the dark. Each new dataset is a lullaby of light. Each signal is both a question and an answer. And as they work, you dream of planets turning silently around distant suns, of atmospheres that shimmer in alien dawns in the deep quiet of night. You realize something. Every discovery begins with stillness. Before there is data, before there is proof, there is simply someone looking up, wondering that wonder is older than history. It is the same wonder that painted caves, that sailed oceans, that asked what lies beyond the horizon. Now, the horizon has no edge. You feel that truth settle inside you like light through water. You are made of the same atoms that once drifted between stars. The iron in your blood, the calcium in your bones, the oxygen in your lungs, all born in stellar hearts long ago. When you look at the stars, you are seeing your own ancestry. The cosmos is not above you. It is within you. Your eyelids grow heavier. The sky, once full of questions, now feels like a lullaby. Each star a gentle note in an infinite song. You float through that music, calm and weightless. You are not seeking anymore. You are simply part of the search. The first light beyond our sky has found you, softly. And as it glows through your imagination, you understand. Discovery is not about reaching farther. It's about seeing more deeply into the nature of existence, into the quiet truth of belonging. You are both the observer and the observed, the question and the answer. The night is vast, but it holds you tenderly. You drift into rest as the stars shimmer, silent and infinite. The universe hums, calm, slow, eternal, and carries you deeper into its dream. The night feels deeper now. You float in it gently, as though suspended in a pool of light and silence. The stars are no longer distant, they are near, like lanterns in a boundless sea. Each one hums, faintly, steady and patient, burning with stories too quiet to shout. But not all stories are told through brightness. Some are spoken through the softest dimming, the whisper of shadows crossing light. You close your eyes and imagine a star, steady, constant, serene. Its glow stretches for trillions of kilometers, reaching your eyes after years of travel. To the human mind, its brightness seems unchanging. But to a telescope's patient gaze, even a star's light can waver just a little. That gentle flicker can mean something extraordinary. It can mean that a planet, invisible and small, has drifted in front of its star. A momentary eclipse, not enough to darken the night, but enough to mark the rhythm of another world. This is the transit method, the art of listening to shadows. You are now floating near a distant sun. Before you, a planet slides across its face. There is no sound, no splash, only the most delicate change in brightness. If you were far away, looking through a telescope, you might notice the star's light dip by less than 1%. Just a breath of difference. Yet it carries the weight of a discovery. Each dip says something is there, something orbiting, steady and faithful, circling its star with mathematical grace. A world that the universe communicates not through words, but through rhythm. Each star's light curve, a graph of its brightness over time, becomes a kind of music. When a planet passes, the tune shifts. Light falls, then rises again, like a heartbeat. You can almost hear it, a slow, celestial pulse. The transit of a planet feels like a sigh, the smallest whisper in an infinite song. Astronomers collect these whispers, hundreds at a time. They watch, they wait. The same pattern repeating every few days, every few weeks, or every few years confirms an orbit. And from that orbit, they can tell so much. How long a year is on that world, how large it might be, how far it lives from its star. without seeing it directly. They can imagine its existence with quiet certainty. You think of the Kepler Space Telescope, launched into orbit to stare at one patch of the sky, not moving, not exploring, simply watching. It gazed at 150,000 stars for years, waiting for their light to waver. Its patience was profound, a kind of cosmic meditation. Each time a planet passed, Kepler felt its presence through a whisper of shadow. It measured those shadows so precisely that astronomers could tell the difference between a gas giant and a rocky world the size of Earth. Thousands of exoplanets revealed themselves, some larger than Jupiter, others smaller than Mercury, some baked by constant sunlight, others circling faint red stars. A few nestled within that fragile band of possibility, the habitable zone, where water might flow and clouds might drift. Every dip in light, every flicker, was another candle lit in the vast dark. You drift through the image of those light curves, soft waves drawn across time. Each line tells a story, a planet crossing, leaving its signature in light. It's strange, isn't it, that we can know something so far away simply because of a shadow. But shadows are not emptiness. They are proof that something real stands between you and the light. Every world discovered this way is a testament to subtlety, to what can be learned by listening closely to silence. You float now among the instruments that measure these flickers, sensors so sensitive they can detect changes of 1 part in 10,000. Imagine that, a light shining continuously for years, and a single dip so small, so faint, becomes the difference between knowing and not knowing. The cosmos reveals itself not through spectacle, but through whispers. It does not shout its secrets. It hums them quietly, waiting for someone patient enough to hear. You think of the scientists, awake in the soft glow of computer screens, watching patterns emerge. They scroll through curves of light, looking for the rhythm of a transit. When they find it, they do not leap or shout. They breathe, slow, amazed, reverent. A shadow in light, a world in darkness. You let your body relax into this thought. The act of discovery is often just the act of noticing. To pay attention deeply, gently, without hurry, is to uncover the invisible. A planet's transit lasts only hours, sometimes minutes. The rest of the time, the star shines normally. If you blink too long, you might miss it completely. So scientists don't blink. They let their telescopes stare, unblinking, uncomplaining, for months and years. The universe rewards that stillness. Perhaps there's something in that for you, too, a lesson in how attention creates meaning. When you slow down enough, even faint signals reveal beauty. You drift further to the edges of this method's reach. Some stars are restless. Their light fluctuates naturally, confused by flares or spots. It takes patience to tell whether a dimming is a planet or just the star itself changing mood. So astronomers cross-check with other methods. Does the star also wobble, pulled by gravity's hand? Do multiple dips appear, suggesting a family of planets? Bit by bit, the picture forms, not a photograph, but a pattern, a certainty. It's like hearing an unseen bird through a forest of sounds and knowing, just from its rhythm, that it is there. And yet, even with all this precision, the stars keep their mysteries. Some transits hint at strange shapes, elongated dips, uneven shadows. Those might be rings, like Saturn's, casting intricate silhouettes, or moons tugging at their planet's brightness like companions in dance. The shadows tell stories still unfolding. You imagine those alien skies, a planet with two suns, casting twin shadows that chase each other across its surface. A world where dusk never ends and the horizon glows from both directions. Another where vast rings shimmer overhead, scattering the light into endless twilight. For every image your imagination paints, there is a spectrum of light, a line of data, a whisper confirming that something real is there. The word transit feels almost sacred now. It means to pass, to move through, to travel from one light to another. In watching these transits, we learn not only about planets, but about passage itself, the gentle crossing from known to unknown. Perhaps your thoughts, too, are transiting from the bright light of wakefulness into the soft dimming of rest. Each breath feels like a tiny eclipse, in, then out, dark, then light, stillness, then motion. The rhythm of the universe repeats inside you. You picture all the worlds discovered through this method, thousands of them, each one a soft shadow written in starlight, each one a note in a cosmic lullaby that spans galaxies. Some of them are tidally locked, one side always facing their sun, the other in eternal night. Imagine standing there between day and dark, watching a star that never sets. The light would stretch forever across the horizon, painting half the sky in gold and half in stars. Even in such extremes, there is balance, a harmony between heat and cold, between brightness and shadow. Perhaps life, too, depends on that balance between knowing and wondering, between light and mystery. As you breathe slower, your body loosens into the rhythm of the cosmos. You begin to sense how vast and gentle the act of looking can be. To look for shadows is not to seek darkness, it is to seek the shape of what light alone cannot reveal. The stars flicker softly in your mind. Somewhere, a telescope continues to watch. A planet crosses a star. A shadow passes. And for a moment, the universe tells its secret, then grows still again. You feel that stillness now, deep and endless, a peace that comes from distance, from knowing that even in the grand quiet of space, motion never stops. Your eyes grow heavy, but your imagination drifts onward across constellations, across centuries of observation. You sense the gentle truth that connects them all. Light is never just light. It carries memory, motion, meaning, and every shadow that crosses it is a story of existence, of orbit, of continuity. The whisper of shadows is the heartbeat, patient, eternal. You exhale, letting that rhythm carry you away. The next discovery waits beyond this dream, where another method, another melody of gravity begins to sing. The night hums softly around you. It feels alive, but without motion, as if everything in the universe is waiting for a cue to move. You float there, calm and unhurried, between stars. Their light feels steady, eternal, unchanging. But you know better now. You've learned that even stillness is an illusion. Every star moves. Every world pulls and is pulled. The universe, in its quiet grace, is always dancing. You begin to sense it, a rhythm so slow, so subtle, that only patience can reveal it. This is gravity's song, not loud, not fierce, but endlessly persuasive. It is the invisible thread that ties everything to everything else. It shapes galaxies, steers comets, guides the paths of planets unseen. If you listen closely, you can almost hear it, a low, continuous hum woven into the silence of space. It is the sound of attraction, of masses acknowledging one another's presence. You drift toward a distant star. At first, it appears to hang perfectly still in the darkness, its light unwavering. But as you draw nearer, you notice something, a tiny wobble, a small sway, as though the star is being led in a dance by an unseen partner. It doesn't move far, just a delicate step back and forth, repeating endlessly. And from that motion, astronomers can tell something is there. A planet orbiting invisibly, pulling its star with the gentlest tug imaginable. This is the radial velocity method, the dance of gravity when two bodies orbit each other. They do not spin around just one of them. They circle a common point, a shared center of mass. For our Sun and Earth, that center lies deep within the Sun itself, so it hardly seems to move. But when the planet is large and close, a giant like Jupiter, or a world hugging its star, the balance shifts. The star begins to sway, barely perceptible, but measurable. Astronomers on Earth watch for this motion, not with eyes, but with light. A moving star's light changes color as it comes toward or away from us, a cosmic Doppler effect. When it approaches, its light compresses, turning slightly bluer. When it retreats, the light stretches, reddening by a fraction. That is the whisper of gravity, the signature of an unseen planet. Written in wavelengths, you imagine this now. The star's light, pure and white, passes through a spectrograph, an instrument that spreads it into a rainbow of colors. Within that rainbow lie thousands of thin, dark lines, fingerprints of the elements that make up the star. When the star moves, those lines shift ever so slightly. Like the soft bending of a melody, it takes months, sometimes years, of careful watching to notice the pattern. A steady, repeating motion, blue to red to blue, the heartbeat of a planetary system. You think of it as a waltz, the planet and the star circling one another, bound by gravity's embrace, locked in an eternal rhythm. You cannot hear the music, but you can feel it, a cosmic pulse that echoes through time. The first exoplanets discovered by this method were massive and close to their stars, hot Jupiters, spinning so rapidly that their presence could not hide. The stars they circled swayed visibly in the data, their light curves pulsing like slow waves. Each discovery was a note in an expanding composition. As instruments improved, smaller planets revealed themselves, subtler motions, quieter dances. Worlds the size of Earth began to step forward, their gravity gentle but sure. Through this patient listening, astronomers have mapped the hidden choreography of the galaxy. They've found systems with multiple planets, each one tugging and balancing the others, a celestial dance of exquisite harmony. You float now amid one such system. Around you, 5 planets circle a bright yellow star, each orbiting at its own tempo. You watch as the star itself sways, not in chaos, but in a smooth, repeating rhythm. The inner worlds pull one way, the outer ones another, their combined gravity creating a symphony of motion. If you could translate this into sound, it might resemble the vibration of strings, resonant harmony echoing through the void. You realize, with quiet awe, that this dance is universal. Every star, Every planet, every grain of dust participates in it. Gravity is not just a force, it is a relationship. You think of Isaac Newton sitting beneath an apple tree centuries ago, pondering the same invisible pull. He imagined that the force drawing the apple to Earth might be the same force holding the moon in orbit. He was right. That realization stitched together heaven and earth, the first thread in our understanding of cosmic motion. Later, Albert Einstein would reimagine gravity not as a force, but as the curvature of space-time, a bending of the universe itself. Mass doesn't pull, it tells space how to curve. And space, in turn, tells matter how to move. You picture this, the star resting in a soft depression in the fabric of space, the planets circling along the curve, forever falling toward it, but never reaching. Each orbit is a continuous surrender, a graceful motion of trust that is gravity's gentle dance, not domination, but relationship, balance, and continuity. Back on Earth, astronomers convert the stars' rhythmic wobbles into data, columns of numbers, peaks and valleys on a graph. From those shapes, they calculate the planet's mass, its orbit, even its possible composition. Each point of data becomes a brushstroke, painting a picture of a world no one has ever seen. It's remarkable how much can be learned from such subtlety. A star's movement of just a few meters per second, slower than a human walk, can reveal a planet larger than Earth. It's as if the universe is whispering its secrets through the smallest motions. And we have finally learned how to listen. You smile at the thought, listening that word again. The cosmos doesn't demand to be conquered. It invites us to listen. You drift back into your senses, noticing how your own heartbeat echoes the pattern of an orbit, steady, returning, balanced. Life itself, you realize, is a kind of gravitational dance. Each breath, each pulse, moves in cycles, expansions and returns, like planets circling a sun. You are both the dancer and the danced with, part of the rhythm that holds all things together, even your atoms. Forged in ancient stars, move according to that same law. The gravity that binds planets also binds the molecules within you. You are held, not metaphorically, but truly, by the same fabric that curves beneath galaxies. Sometimes you think it's easy to forget this. We move through our days feeling separate, alone, as though gravity is only the weight that keeps us grounded. But here, in this vast stillness, you feel it differently, not as heaviness, but as belonging. Gravity is the reason you don't drift away. It is connection, written into the physics of being, even in sleep. Gravity holds you softly against the Earth, the planet itself orbiting the sun, which orbits the galaxy, which drifts through the expanding universe. Every motion is connected, every orbit part of a larger dance. There is no true stillness, only infinite grace. The story of gravity's dance is not complete without its next movement, resonance. When multiple planets orbit a star in simple ratios, one circling twice while another completes once, their tugs amplify each other. It's like harmony in music, frequencies aligning to create beauty. In some systems, these resonances last for billions of years, keeping the orbits stable. In others, they unravel, scattering worlds across space. Yet even in chaos, the rhythm persists. The universe never stops composing, You imagine drifting past such a system, hearing the silent chords of gravitational resonance as light patterns ripple through space. Each note is the balance between motion and rest, between pull and release, that you begin to understand that discovery, like gravity, is not about force, it's about attention. Astronomers don't tear secrets from the universe. They listen for its natural rhythm and move with it. They dance, too, with data, with light, with patience. Perhaps you feel that same rhythm in yourself now, the slow turning of thought, the gentle orbit of breath. You are no longer just an observer. You are part of the pattern. You drift in this awareness that gravity is not a distant force, but a constant companion, guiding every motion from the smallest atom to the widest galaxy. And as you float through that realization, the universe feels suddenly tender. You exhale, long and slow. The light of the stars seems to pulse with your breath, expanding, contracting. You can almost see the star and its planet circling endlessly, each tug and sway a verse in an unending lullaby. The next discovery lies just beyond this moment, another way of hearing the cosmos, not through motion or light, but through color. The stars will soon speak again in the hues of alien skies. But for now, you rest within gravity's gentle dance, the quiet truth that everything, everywhere, moves together. You drift now into a quieter place in the cosmos. The stars around you seem softer, their light more golden and slow. After the searching, the measuring, the patient listening for shadows and wobbles, you arrive at a question more intimate, almost tender. Could there be oceans out there? Not just rocks and gas and dust, but liquid water flowing gently under alien skies. It's a simple thought, yet it carries the weight of life itself. Every living thing on Earth, from coral reefs to redwood trees, from whales to the smallest bacteria, owes its existence to water. It is the great dissolver, the medium of connection, the silent carrier of life's chemistry. Where water flows, the universe seems to whisper, life might follow. And so you begin your night's journey into what scientists call the habitable zone, that delicate region around a star where conditions might allow liquid water to exist. Not too hot, not too cold, a quiet balance, a soft middle distance, like the space between waking and dreaming. Imagine yourself moving through that balance now. The star at the center of your vision glows warmly, its light spilling like a gentle tide. You drift outward and inward, tracing orbits the way a painter might trace circles of gold on black silk. Too close, and the worlds are scorched, their oceans boiled away, their skies stripped bare. Too far, and the cold turns every drop of water into glass. But here, in the narrow band between extremes, worlds might cradle seas. You pause there, in that stillness between fire and ice, and let your mind wander. What would an alien ocean sound like? Would waves break softly on crystal shores beneath a violet sky? Would its salt be born from minerals no human has touched? Would life, if it stirred there, dream of its own stars? On Earth, oceans hold more than water. They hold stories. Our own began in them. Long before breath, before bone, before memory, there was the sea. In its shimmering depths, chemistry found rhythm. Molecules learned to dance, to fold, to connect. From that ancient tide, life emerged. And so we look outward toward distant suns, carrying the memory of our own beginnings. Astronomers now search for exoplanet oceans, not by sight, but by subtle light. When a planet passes in front of its star, a fraction of the starlight filters through its atmosphere. Hidden in that faint glow are clues, fingerprints of water vapor, hydrogen, oxygen. Sometimes, even the way a planet reflects its light, a soft shimmer known as glint, can betray the presence of a vast sea. You imagine the instruments orbiting Earth in silent precision: Kepler, TESS, JWST, eyes that never sleep, listening for light so faint it might as well be a whisper from another dream. Each detection, each pixel of data, is a possibility, a hint that somewhere out there, a world may shimmer with oceans under alien suns. You drift now to one of the most famous of these, Kepler 2b. It orbits a star much like our Sun, about 600 light-years away. It sits in its star's habitable zone, neither scorched nor frozen. We don't yet know if it holds oceans, but its size, its warmth, its gentle orbit all suggest it could. Scientists imagine it wrapped in clouds, its surface perhaps half water, half sky, a world where waves stretch for thousands of miles, where islands, if they exist, are rare and bright as jewels. In your mind, you hover above its imagined sea. The light is softer there, a little more amber, a little slower. Clouds roll in long ribbons, carrying rain that falls in silver veils. You can almost hear it, the steady hush of a world breathing. No ships, no cities, no sound but wind and water, the kind of silence that feels alive. Then you drift farther still, toward TRAPPIST-1, a small, cool star surrounded by 7 Earth-sized planets, a family of worlds. 3 of them lie in that precious, habitable zone. They circle close, so near that each might see the others hanging large in the sky like moons. If you stood on one of those planets, say TRAPPIST-1e, you might see its sister worlds gliding in and out of view, their colors shifting with light. Some might hold oceans, some might be dry and cracked, but all of them, together, feel like possibility itself, a cosmic archipelago drifting in the tide of time. You float between them, weightless. You imagine dipping your hand, if such a thing were possible, into their imagined waters. Would they feel familiar? Would they taste like home? Perhaps not. Their chemistry might be strange, their air thick with gases we could never breathe. And yet they remind you of something deeply human, the desire to belong, to find reflection, even in the unknown. Science, at its heart, is a form of longing. Every exoplanet we find is not just a discovery, it is a mirror, a reflection of our search for meaning, for kinship across the dark. When astronomers speak of habitable zones, they are not only describing physics, they are tracing the outlines of hope. You breathe slowly. The thought drifts through you like current. Water is not only a chemical, it is a metaphor. It represents continuity, adaptability, flow. It takes the shape of whatever holds it. It connects distant shores, dissolves barriers, makes life possible in silence. Even here, across billions of miles, the idea of oceans comforts you, because water means home, no matter what star shines above it. But not all potential oceans are warm or open to the sky. Some may hide beneath ice, secret seas beneath frozen crusts. Just as Europa and Enceladus hold oceans under their icy shells, so too might distant exoplanets. These are called subsurface oceans, trapped under kilometers of ice, kept liquid by pressure and the gentle heat of tidal forces. Imagine them dark, vast, and still, their waters untouched by starlight for billions of years. In their silence, chemistry still stirs. Perhaps life exists there, blind and patient, moving in slow grace through eternal night. You picture it, an underworld sea beneath a frozen surface, glowing faintly with bioluminescence. Tiny organisms, drifting like sparks in the dark, pulsing in rhythm with unseen tides. No sun, no sky, yet still the possibility of life. It's humbling, even without light, existence finds a way to shimmer. You rest on that thought for a while. The idea that life doesn't always need the conditions we imagine, that oceans may be silent, frozen, invisible, and still alive, that the universe, vast and indifferent, may also be generous in its variety. Perhaps one day we'll find proof, a spectral signature, a chemical imbalance, a molecule out of place. Until then, the evidence lies in our imagination, guided by data, refined by wonder. We don't have to see an ocean to know what it means. We only have to listen to the pattern of starlight, to the subtle rhythm that whispers, "It could be." Now the stars dim again around you. The vision fades, and you are left with the echo of waves, imagined, eternal. You think of Earth, of how precious and improbable our own water world truly is. The pale blue dot, floating alone yet full of life. It, too, orbits in its own narrow band of grace. Too close, and we would burn. Too far, and we would freeze. We live in balance, a miracle of distance. You feel gratitude rise in you, not as excitement, but as calm. To know that oceans might exist beyond our reach makes the one beneath your feet even more sacred. Our seas, our clouds, our rain, all are reminders that we are part of a larger pattern, repeated across the stars. You close your eyes, the night folds around you like water. You imagine drifting through that habitable zone again, through quiet, glimmering rings of potential worlds. Each one spins slowly, wrapped in mystery. Each one is waiting, patient as the tide, for discovery. In your breath, the rhythm of waves. In your heartbeat, the pulse of gravity. The oceans of Earth and the oceans of exoplanets both move in time with the same cosmic music. You let that harmony cradle you. You sink into it gently, as though sinking into warm water. The stars fade to distant silver. The noise of the world disappears. Somewhere, a telescope catches another faint glint of light, perhaps a hint of ocean, a reflection from an alien sea. You smile in the dark. The thought feels endless, soothing. The search continues, quietly, patiently, and you float among the possibilities, oceans upon oceans, worlds upon worlds, silence holding life's softest promise. You float now between worlds. The light of distant suns glows around you, soft and shimmering, like the faint memory of a dream. Each star hums with its own color, amber, sapphire, white gold, crimson, and around some of them, planets turn in silence. But what are their skies made of? What winds move across their horizons? What colors might paint their dawns? The search for other worlds once meant finding their shadows. Now, it means learning to breathe their air, not with lungs, but with light. You take a long, slow breath and imagine inhaling the starlight itself. Every photon that reaches you has traveled through time, through distance, through layers of invisible gas surrounding alien worlds. Hidden within that light are fingerprints, tiny distortions that tell of what the air contains: hydrogen, helium, water vapor, carbon dioxide, methane. Each molecule bends light differently. Each one leaves its mark, like the faint trace of perfume in an empty room. This is the science of spectroscopy, the art of reading light. It is how astronomers turn color into knowledge, how they listen to the silent languages of atmospheres billions of kilometers away. Imagine a beam of starlight, pure and white, perfect as a single note. Now imagine it passing through the atmosphere of an exoplanet. Some of the light is absorbed, some is scattered. By the time that light reaches Earth, it carries a story within it, a story written not in words, but in wavelengths. When scientists spread that light into a spectrum, they see not a smooth rainbow, but one crossed by tiny dark lines, absorption lines, where certain colors are missing. Those missing colors are clues. They tell us which gases caught the light along the way. It is as if each world whispers its chemical name through its air, and we, from afar, have finally learned to listen. You drift through this process in your imagination. You picture the great telescopes that do this work: the James Webb Space Telescope, vast and golden, unfolding like a flower in the cold of space. Its mirrors, honeycomb and gleaming, gather ancient light. Its instruments separate that light into spectra, delicate rainbows stretched thin. From those rainbows, scientists extract the faintest hints of planetary air. Sometimes only 1 part in 100 million of the starlight is filtered by an atmosphere, yet that is enough to reveal a sky, enough to guess the breadth of a world. You realize how fragile that is, how precise, how wondrously patient. Some skies, others are thick with sodium and potassium, casting golden hazes. Some are scarlet from iron clouds, glowing dimly in eternal twilight. There are worlds where glass particles float in the air, scattering light like diamonds, and worlds where silicates drift like sandstorms, coloring the heavens in copper and rose. Each atmosphere is a painting, each spectrum a brushstroke from a distant hand. You drift toward one such world, HD 189733b, a planet orbiting close to its star. Astronomers call it a hot Jupiter, a gas giant too close to ever know calm. Its clouds are made of silicate, the material of glass. Winds there roar at 7,000 kilometers an hour, and the rain is molten glass, slicing sideways through blue haze. And yet, despite the violence, it is beautiful. When light passes through its sky, it scatters into an azure tone, the deepest blue ever seen beyond Earth. Not the blue of oceans, but of storms. You hover there in your mind's eye, gazing at that furious sapphire world. It reminds you that beauty in the cosmos does not always mean gentleness. Even chaos can shine. Farther away lies Kepler 7b, another hot giant, but calmer, more serene. Its atmosphere gleams with reflective clouds, bright, pearly, metallic. If you could stand above it, it would look like a silver lantern drifting through the dark. No solid ground, no water, just endless clouds glowing under starlight. A reminder that even in absence, there can be grace. And then there are the smaller worlds, rocky ones, perhaps like Earth. Some orbit in the sweet warmth of their stars, where water might exist as vapor, cloud, or rain. When scientists study their light, they search for the signature of oxygen, ozone, and methane together, gases that, on Earth, are intertwined with life. Finding all three in harmony would be like hearing a familiar song played across the galaxy. You wonder what color such a sky might have. Perhaps pale gold at noon, soft violet at dusk, perhaps a hue that no human eye has ever seen, a color that exists only in dreams. Color, after all, is more than vision. It is a translation, a bridge between energy and perception. What one being calls blue, another might not even see. If life exists on another world, its eyes might have evolved under a different star with different wavelengths of light. Their version of daylight might be red or amber, their night a deep, glowing purple. You imagine those creatures, perhaps not like us at all, walking under skies that shimmer with their own definition of beauty. It is humbling and strangely comforting to think that color itself is relative, that the universe paints in infinite palettes, each one a language of its own. As you drift deeper into this thought, the boundary between science and poetry begins to blur. Light and air, color and chemistry, they become metaphors for understanding itself. To study a planet's air is to study its memory. Every gas is a trace of what once happened there. Volcanic eruptions, oceans steaming, lightning cracking through clouds. An atmosphere is history, written in molecules. Even Earth's own air tells such a story. It wasn't always blue. Billions of years ago, it was orange with haze and methane. Only when life began to breathe did oxygen fill the sky and turn it the shade you know. Our atmosphere is a product of living things, the planet exhaling through its forests, its seas, far away. Another world might be doing the same, breathing, evolving, changing its colors over eons. You close your eyes and imagine drifting down into one of those atmospheres. At first, only faint light, diffused, weightless. Then the pressure builds, the wind sings. You feel particles of dust, ash, or ice brushing past you, catching light like stars in miniature. Perhaps lightning flashes, violet, white, or emerald. Every storm in the cosmos has its rhythm, and you are inside its music. You breathe deeply, not of oxygen, but of imagination. Each inhalation carries the scent of chemistry, the echo of time. You think about how every discovery of distant air connects us more deeply to our own, how the carbon dioxide you exhale at this moment joins the same molecular family that floats through Venus's clouds or Saturn's moons. The cosmos is not separate, it is continuous. Every breath, every photon, every atom shared, the night around you darkens. The stars steady themselves. Your awareness drifts outward again, past the imagined storms, past the telescopes and data, back into stillness. Somewhere far away, a scientist studies a faint spectrum, tracing the tiniest dip in starlight. From that line, they infer an atmosphere. From that atmosphere, they imagine a world. From that world, perhaps, they wonder about life. And here you are, halfway between waking and sleep, following the same thread, drawn by curiosity, held by calm. The universe reveals itself slowly, in colors and silence. You exhale, and your breath feels like mist. In your mind, a final image takes form, a planet turning in the light of its sun, its air shimmering in blues and greens unknown to Earth. Clouds drift like slow thoughts. Winds carry the scent of strange oceans. And from a distance, that world glows, not just with reflected light, but with the quiet presence of possibility. You let that image settle in you. You understand now that color is not just what you see, it is what you feel. Each wavelength, a vibration of being, each hue, a reminder that the universe is alive in every spectrum. As your body softens into rest, the stars blur together into a single, gentle radiance. You are no longer separate from the sky. You are the observer and the observed. The light and the air, the colors of distant worlds drift through your dreams. And somewhere, another sky turns, unseen, but glowing softly under its sun. You float once more among the stars, quiet, unhurried, serene. Around you, the night hums like a soft instrument, each photon a note in an endless song. You close your eyes, and the light becomes language. Every star, every planet, every trace of color in the darkness tells a story. You are entering the library of light, a place without walls or shelves, where information is carried not on pages, but in waves. It is here that astronomers listen to the universe. One wavelength at a time, light, you realize, is ancient. It has traveled across unimaginable distances, through dust clouds, across empty gulfs of space, past the magnetic breath of stars. By the time it reaches us, it carries memories of atmospheres it has passed through, of elements it has touched, of worlds it has reflected from dot. Each photon is a traveler, whispering stories of where it has been. Each color, a clue. You breathe slowly, letting the idea settle that to study light is to read the autobiography of the cosmos. In this great cosmic library, the spectroscope is the key. A device that doesn't look for shapes or images, but for patterns. When light passes through a prism or a diffraction grating, it separates into its many colors, a spectrum stretched like a rainbow across an invisible page. But within that rainbow are small, delicate lines, thin, dark gaps, tiny interruptions in color. These are the absorption lines, fingerprints of elements. Hydrogen leaves its mark. So does oxygen, sodium, iron. Each element absorbs light at specific wavelengths, leaving behind a pattern that no other can replicate. And so, across the universe, scientists have learned to read the stars, not by sight, but by their hidden writing. You imagine holding a beam of starlight in your hands. It passes through your fingers, soft as silk, yet filled with secrets. Somewhere within that light lies the story of a planet's air, whether it carries oxygen, carbon dioxide, or methane, whether it hides water vapor or silicate dust. When astronomers let that light flow through their instruments, they are turning starlight into sentences, chemistry into poetry. They are not just observing, they are reading. You drift now to a quiet observatory perched high in the desert, where the night is still and clear. Below, the world sleeps. Above, the dome opens like a blooming flower, letting in the ancient light of a star far beyond our reach. Inside, a scientist watches the faintest shimmer cross a computer screen, a line of data, a curve, a spectral signature. It doesn't look like much at first, but to those who understand the language of light, it is everything. That curve might reveal a planet's temperature, its atmospheric density, even the faint chemical traces of life, a subtle dip in brightness, a specific absorption feature. These are the syllables of discovery. Light travels not just through space, but through time. When you look at a distant star, you are seeing it as it was years, centuries, or even millennia ago. The farther you gaze, the older the light becomes, a message from the past. Arriving only now, it means that the spectra of some exoplanets, their light signatures, may come from worlds that no longer exist, whose oceans have already dried, whose atmospheres have drifted away, but their light remains. The record endures. In this library, nothing is ever truly lost. You imagine drifting through this archive, not in corridors of stone, but in ribbons of light. Red light hums in the lower shelves, long and slow, whispering of warmth and motion. Blue light shimmers in the higher aisles, sharp and quick. Speaking of energy and youth, gamma rays blaze in brilliance, intense, secretive volumes that few can approach. Infrared glows in the dark, like the steady warmth of an ember, revealing what the eye cannot see. Every color, every frequency is a shelf in this endless library, and every photon, a word written in the language of the universe. There are patterns so faint they vanish into noise, yet even those hold meaning. Astronomers spend months, years, sometimes decades, teasing out signals buried in data. A fraction of a percent difference in brightness, a hint of carbon monoxide here, a pulse of oxygen there. The difference between discovery and silence. It is work that requires patience, reverence, and faith in light itself. You smile softly at that thought. Faith in light. What a beautiful thing to hold once. On a world far away, a beam of starlight touched an ocean and reflected back into the sky. It passed through air, through clouds, through gases, both familiar and strange. It carried the fingerprints of that world, its weather, its seasons, perhaps even its breath. Millions of years later, that same beam reaches Earth, faint and trembling, like the echo of a whisper. A human being, small, curious, fragile, catches it with a telescope and begins to translate. That act, you realize, is not just science. It is connection, a bridge between distant realities, built on nothing more than light. Light, too, is a patient teacher. It tells us that knowledge comes in waves, that truth must sometimes be refracted to be understood. It reminds us that even absence, the dark lines in a spectrum, carries meaning, that what is missing can teach us as much as what is there. In that lesson lies a deeper peace. Now, you close your eyes and imagine standing inside a beam of starlight. It wraps around you, golden and weightless. You can almost hear it whispering in frequencies your body can't perceive, vibrations too subtle for sound, too pure for sight. You realize that your eyes, too, are spectroscopes transforming light into color, into understanding. Your mind is a reader of light, decoding the world around you every waking moment. Perhaps that is why the night sky feels familiar, because your very existence depends on light and on the ability to read it. Somewhere, an exoplanet turns slowly in its orbit. Its atmosphere catches the light of its star, scattering it in ways that will one day reach us. When it does, That light will enter a telescope, a prism, a detector, and be turned into a spectrum, into data, into meaning. It will join the library of light, another story added to the cosmic shells. Maybe within that spectrum will be the subtle hint of oxygen, maybe the faint pattern of methane, maybe the soft, almost imperceptible rhythm of life. You may never visit that world, may never see its oceans or breathe its air, but its light, perhaps, is enough. The universe speaks in many tongues: gravity, time, matter, but light remains its most eloquent. You float in its presence now, calm and weightless, your breath slow and steady. Each photon that brushes your skin has traveled billions of years just to meet you. You let that realization sink deep into your chest. You are not merely observing the cosmos. You are part of its dialogue, one line of awareness in an endless poem of light. As you drift towards sleep, the library around you glows faintly, colors blending, lines dissolving. You feel the comfort of knowing that even when darkness comes, light continues to write. It keeps moving, carrying stories, carrying truth, carrying the memory of everything it has ever touched. And one day, perhaps, when someone looks toward our own pale blue world, they too will read its light and learn of oceans, of air, of life that once looked upward and wondered. You smile into the stillness. The library of light hums softly around you, infinite and eternal. You are part of it now, a reader, a listener, a keeper of its quiet glow. The stars dim gently, like lamps in a cosmic hall, and the story of light becomes a lullaby. You float now between two extremes, between fire and frost, between heat that melts stone and cold that silences motion. In this chapter of your cosmic journey, you explore the worlds that defy balance, yet reveal beauty in their extremes. They are the frozen giants and the molten hearts of the universe. Worlds where the laws of physics sculpt landscapes stranger than dreams. You breathe slowly, letting the duality of their nature wash through you, the stillness of ice, the pulse of flame. Far from their stars, frozen giants drift through eternal night. Their surfaces are locked in frost, their winds whispering through plains of nitrogen ice. They orbit dim suns, too distant for warmth, too weak for light to reach the ground. Here, oceans have solidified into stone, and mountains gleam like glass. Imagine standing upon one, your feet sinking slightly into a crust of frozen gas. Above you, a faint sun hovers like a pale coin, casting no warmth, only memory. The air is thin, the silence absolute, and yet, beneath this desolation, something stirs, the slow warmth of a buried core. For even in the coldest worlds, the heart may still burn faintly. Radioactive decay, pressure, and ancient heat create warmth enough to move matter, to shift ice, to whisper possibility. Subsurface oceans may hide here, far below the frost dark, pressurized and secret in the cold. Life doesn't disappear, it hides, waiting. Now drift closer to the warmth, to the molten hearts, the hot worlds that cling too tightly to their stars. Here, the days are endless and the nights never come. The light is fierce, like a living flame that never relents. Planets such as K2141b face their suns so closely that their surfaces boil, turning rock to vapor. Lava oceans spread like liquid mirrors, reflecting an orange dawn that never ends. You can almost hear the world breathe, a sound like distant thunder, the hiss of rock turning to mist. The winds here howl faster than sound, carrying vaporized minerals across hemispheres. On the dark side, that vapor cools and rains down as molten rock. Imagine that a rain of stone falling endlessly, cycling between day and night like breath between fire and shadow. This is a planet alive with physics, a place where every moment is transformation, every horizon a new beginning. Even in the unbearable, there is rhythm. The universe, it seems, does not fear extremes. It experiments endlessly, gracefully. There are hot Jupiters, gas giants that orbit so close to their stars that their atmospheres boil away. Their clouds are made of metals and silicates. Their skies burn with constant lightning. Some reflect light so brightly that they shimmer like polished silver. Others are so dark they absorb nearly everything, appearing as shadows moving through space. And there are super-Earths, rocky worlds heavier than ours, with gravity strong enough to crush mountains into plains. Their atmospheres may trap heat, creating perpetual tempests. Some may have no solid surface at all, only oceans of magma, swirling around metallic hearts. You imagine looking down upon such a world, continents of glowing stone, rivers of light, mountains made not of rock, but of movement. It is terrifying and beautiful. Then there are worlds that seem made of contradiction, ice planets with fiery cores, molten worlds wrapped in clouds of ice. On some, diamonds rain from the skies, forged by pressure and time. On others, metals condense and fall like snow, dusting the surface in glittering frost. Science reveals these not as fantasies, but as facts of thermodynamics and chemistry, where pressure meets temperature in the right ratio. Even the impossible becomes inevitable. You realize, as you float among these contradictions, that nature does not choose comfort. It chooses diversity. And within that diversity lies the story of endurance, the same story written in miniature in your own heartbeat. You drift now toward a twilight world, half molten, half frozen. Its star burns red, faint but persistent. One hemisphere faces it forever, locked in heat and storm. The other never sees light, an ocean of shadow and ice dot between them, a narrow belt of twilight, a region of balance. There, rivers of vapor rise from molten plains and fall as frozen rain. Cycling endlessly, to live here would mean existing in the rhythm of transformation, between melting and freezing, between light and dark. It is a planet of edges, of thresholds, much like life itself. You think of the Earth now, of how even here, balance is fragile. Too close to the sun, and our oceans would vanish into sky. Too far, and they would lock beneath ice. Life has thrived in the narrowest of margins, a perfect harmony of distance and warmth. The frozen giants and molten hearts remind you how rare that harmony is, and how precious, but they also teach another truth. Even outside the habitable zone, beauty endures. Even where life as we know it cannot exist, creation still writes poetry through physics. A frozen world sings through its glaciers. A molten one hums through its tides of fire. Both, in their silence, echo the same cosmic rhythm. You drift closer to one last world, a lava exoplanet glowing like an ember in the dark. Its crust moves like breath, cracking, closing, opening again. Rivers of molten rock flow into basins, then cool, harden, and break apart once more. If you listen carefully, you can almost hear it, the sound of stone becoming liquid, the pulse of a world remaking itself. It feels alive, not in the way of cells or hearts, but in the way of processes, of motion, of energy, of persistence. It reminds you that life, in its truest sense, is not defined by biology, but by continuity, by the refusal to stop changing. As the stars turn slowly above you, you begin to see a pattern, one mirrored in the smallest of things. Inside you, too, there are frozen parts and molten ones. Some regions of your heart remain untouched, silent and still. Others burn with movement, with curiosity. With creation, the cosmos and your consciousness reflect one another, both searching for balance between calm and passion. Perhaps that is why these planets call to you. They are not just distant orbs of rock and gas. They are symbols of everything that endures, everything that transforms. You breathe in slowly. In the stillness of your mind, you imagine yourself standing between the frozen and the molten, in that twilight place where opposites meet. You feel the cool air from the ice world brushing one side of your face, the warmth from the molten world caressing the other in that moment. You are the bridge between extremes, between silence and sound, between knowing and wonder. You let the realization flow through you like heat through stone, like chill through air. The universe does not seek perfection. It seeks persistence. And so you drift onward, surrounded by frozen giants and molten hearts, worlds that remind you of endurance, of patience, of balance in the midst of chaos. Their light fades behind you, soft and steady. The silence deepens. Somewhere ahead waits another mystery, another kind of solitude. The lonely wanderers, the planets without stars. You turn toward the darkness, ready to follow. The stars begin to fade behind you, their light softening into a distant shimmer. You are leaving the neighborhoods of suns, drifting away from warmth, away from orbits, into a space without anchors. Here, there are no sunrises, no planetary shadows, no dawn to divide the hours. Only the quiet hum of the universe, a low and endless song beneath the silence. This is where the lonely wanderers drift, the planets that roam the darkness with no star to call their own. They are called rogue planets, or sometimes orphan worlds, worlds born from light but abandoned to the dark. Some were cast out of their solar systems long ago, thrown loose by gravitational battles among giants. Others may have formed alone, from clouds of dust that never caught the spark of a star. Now they travel the galaxy in solitude, their paths unbound, their journeys eternal. You imagine them, vast spheres moving soundlessly through the black, carrying frozen mountains, buried oceans, and perhaps memories of light. Each one is a secret, a moving world, invisible to eyes that need illumination. You drift closer to one. It turns slowly, blacker than ink, its outline barely visible against the void. Its only light comes from within, a faint infrared glow, the residue of its birth, warmth that refuses to fade completely. Its atmosphere, if it has one, might shimmer faintly in that glow, a soft halo of invisible heat. If you could walk upon its surface, the sky above you would be an ocean of stars, but no sun. Your shadow would be painted only by starlight. It would feel like standing inside eternity. You wonder how many of these wanderers there are. Some scientists say they may outnumber the stars themselves. For every shining sun, there could be two, perhaps three worlds moving through darkness unseen. They are the hidden population of the cosmos, the quiet majority, the sleepers between the lights. We know them only by inference, by gravity's whisper. Sometimes, as one passes in front of a distant star, its pull bends the starlight slightly, a faint distortion, a clue that something massive, though invisible, drifts by. It is through this gentle bending of light, called gravitational microlensing, that astronomers catch their fleeting traces. Imagine that, finding a world not by its light, but by the curve it leaves in another's. Even in darkness, these worlds make their presence known. Even without stars, they leave a mark. You think of what it means to travel endlessly, without orbit or anchor, to drift in silence, yet remain intact, unchanged by tides, untouched by dawn. There's something hauntingly peaceful about it. Perhaps loneliness is not emptiness, but freedom. Perhaps these planets are not lost, but liberated, free to wander the galaxy, unbound by the pull of any sun. You feel a kinship with them, for within every human heart, there are places that drift, unlit regions of thought and memory that move quietly, carrying the warmth of long-ago moments. We, too, are wanderers. We, too, move through darkness, seeking the next source of light. If life could exist on a rogue planet, it would not depend on sunlight. It would live by geothermal warmth, the heat of radioactive decay within the planet's core. Beneath thick layers of rock or ice, oceans could remain liquid, warmed from below rather than above. Imagine such a sea, endless black, enclosed in pressure and darkness. Its waters illuminated only by the faint glow of chemical reactions, by heat rather than flame. Perhaps they're simple organisms, drift, blind, resilient, ancient. They do not need stars. They have learned to make light of their own. The idea brings comfort. Even in perfect darkness, life might continue, quietly, unseen. You pass another rogue world, larger this time, a gas giant without a sun. Its atmosphere is a deep, muted blue, glowing faintly with retained heat. Lightning flashes within its clouds, silent bursts of brightness in the void. You watch in awe as each flash lights up layers of vapor and wind, swirling shapes that vanish as quickly as they form. It feels like witnessing thought itself, spontaneous, brief, and beautiful. This planet will drift for billions of years. Its storms will rise and fade. Its heat will slowly bleed into the cold around it. And when its last warmth fades, it will become a monument to endurance, a frozen echo of its own creation. The stars look brighter out here, sharper, as if each one is watching. You realize how dependent we are on light, how much we define ourselves by what we see. Yet these worlds teach another way of being, to exist without illumination, to persist without witness, to move without destination. They remind you that meaning can exist even when unseen, that not every life, not every beauty needs to be illuminated to be real. You drift further still, until the stars thin to faint dust. Time feels different here, elastic, unanchored. Your thoughts slow. Your breath evens out. You imagine yourself becoming like one of them, a solitary traveler through the interstellar dark. You would not need light to know your place. You would carry your own quiet heat, your own slow pulse of being. Perhaps that is what these planets truly are. Not lonely, but self-sufficient. Not cold, but resting. And yet, even in their solitude, they remain part of the greater pattern. Their gravity still tugs faintly on the stars they pass. Their motion still contributes to the music of galaxies. Nothing in the universe is ever truly separate. Even the wanderers shape the whole as you drift beside them. A gentle realization settles within you. Maybe the universe is not a place of isolation at all, but of vast connection. Maybe darkness does not divide, but unites, because in darkness, light from every source, however faint, becomes visible. You think of the countless rogue planets moving unseen, like silent notes in a cosmic symphony. Each one, in its way, adds to the harmony its orbitless motion, balancing the orbits of others. Its silence deepening the song of the stars. You feel a quiet peace. To drift does not mean to be lost. To travel without destination is not to wander without purpose. Sometimes the journey itself is the meaning, the slow, graceful motion through infinity. You exhale softly, your thoughts dissolving into the vastness. The rogue planets continue on their paths, silent and steady, their faint warmth glowing like hidden embers in the cold. And as you float among them, you realize that the night, too, is not empty. It is full of invisible travelers, full of stories, moving through silence. Ahead, a faint light appears, a distant star, small and golden. Perhaps another chapter waits there, another world bound to warmth again. But for now, you remain with the wanderers, resting in their quiet. Their peace becomes your own. Their solitude, your stillness. Their slow journey, your breath. And in the darkness between stars, you fall gently into sleep. You drift closer to the faint golden star that appeared in the distance, a fragile flame flickering in the endless night. Its light grows, and with it, warmth seeps slowly back into the darkness. Around it, small worlds circle like silent dancers. Their motions are gentle, measured, bound by the invisible threads of gravity. You are entering a realm of possibility. Every one of these planets might carry a story, oceans breathing vapor, clouds whispering chemistry, winds carrying invisible traces of something living. The universe, once empty and cold, begins to breathe again. For centuries, humanity has lifted its gaze toward the stars and asked the same question: are we alone? And though the question sounds vast, it is a tender one, a longing not just for company, but for connection. The answer, scientists say, might be hidden in the faintest signals, in the signs of breath. These are called biosignatures, the delicate fingerprints of life written in chemistry and light. Imagine looking at a planet not through touch or travel, but through a telescope many light years away. You cannot see its mountains or oceans. You cannot hear its winds or feel its rain, but you can study its light, the way starlight filters through its atmosphere, carrying with it hints of gases, colors, and patterns. This light is a message encoded by the planet's air. And if that air contains certain combinations, oxygen mingled with methane, carbon dioxide balanced with water vapor, It may whisper, "Something is breathing here." It is as if the planet is exhaling softly across the cosmos, and our telescopes are listening. The science behind this is gentle, almost poetic. When light passes through a planet's atmosphere, each molecule absorbs a different color, leaving a unique pattern, a barcode of existence. By studying those patterns, astronomers can tell what the air is made of, even from unimaginable distances. This method is called transmission spectroscopy, but you can think of it more simply, like holding up a stained glass window to the sun. The light that emerges is tinted, shaped by whatever lies within through those shifting colors. We might glimpse not only the chemistry of a planet, but its pulse. You drift near one such world now, its skies a pale silver blue, its oceans veiled in mist. The light that bathes you feels soft and filtered, like dawn through water. Perhaps this planet carries the faint breath of something plankton drifting beneath the waves, microscopic and unaware of their cosmic significance. Or maybe its oxygen comes not from life, but from the slow cracking of molecules under the heat of the sun. Science reminds you, not all signs of life mean life itself. Some are false positives, the planet's natural chemistry imitating breath, mimicking the balance of living systems. It's humbling, this uncertainty. It teaches patience and wonder. In a universe this vast, even mistakes are beautiful, the first true detection of a living world, scientists say, will not come with fireworks or certainty. It will come with a whisper, a faint spectrum line, a quiet deviation, a possibility too subtle to shout. And yet, that moment will change everything, because even a single confirmed breath, even one exhalation from another world, would mean life is not rare. It would mean the universe is fertile, not a cold expanse, but a garden vast beyond imagining. You close your eyes and picture the processes that make life's signature visible on Earth. Green leaves open in sunlight, capturing energy through photosynthesis, turning carbon dioxide into oxygen, water into sugar, light into living form. Each breath you take carries the memory of that exchange. Your inhale is Earth's exhale. Your exhale is Earth's inhale. It is a cycle of quiet reciprocity, happening billions of times a day, across forests, oceans, and grasslands. If somewhere else, another world, carries such a rhythm, its oceans breathing in carbon, its skies filled with the faint scent of oxygen, then the same song has begun again. In another key, you wonder how those worlds might smell, how their air might feel on your skin. Would their winds taste of salt and ozone like our own? Would they hum with the vibration of unseen life, the soft chorus of cells dividing, of enzymes working in hidden harmony? Perhaps the first signs will not come from oxygen, but from something stranger. Maybe ammonia, hydrogen sulfide, or isoprene gases produced by alien metabolisms, by chemistries unlike our own. Life, after all, does not have to resemble us. It only has to adapt. The universe is patient enough to nurture any possibility that finds a way to survive. You move from planet to planet, observing through an invisible lens, each one a different experiment in cosmic chemistry. On one, methane and nitrogen dance in balance, a hint of something biological beneath its frozen crust. On another, volcanic activity releases hydrogen into thick clouds, its heat creating a strange equilibrium. A third is veiled entirely in haze, a mystery world, hiding whatever truth it holds. All of them whisper something different. All of them remind you that discovery is not about certainty, but about listening carefully to what the universe has to say. Our own planet once offered such a whisper, long before anyone could hear it, billions of years ago. When oxygen first began to fill Earth's air, the sky would have looked strange, tinted orange and purple, lit by methane hazes. If a distant civilization had looked toward us, then they might have seen a flickering signal of imbalance, a chemical rhythm that spoke of life beginning to stir. Maybe right now, we are looking at another such world, a young planet whose spectrum glows with the first signs of something awakening beneath its clouds. We would not yet understand its language, but we would recognize its intent to live. You think about how miraculous it is that we can detect such things from so far away. The instruments that make this possible, telescopes like JWST, and those still to come, are like giant ears pressed against the sky, listening for exhalations older than time. They are our senses extended, our curiosity made physical. Every photon they catch has traveled for years, some for centuries, carrying with it the memory of a world that may no longer even exist. And yet, through that light, we can still learn from it. It's as though the universe never lets a story truly fade. You let that thought settle, that life leaves traces, that breath, once exhaled, continues forever, diffusing, dispersing, but never disappearing. Perhaps the same is true for us. Our own breaths, our warmth, our thoughts, they become part of the same universal exchange. We are constantly giving ourselves back to the cosmos, molecule by molecule. The air you breathe tonight may contain atoms once inhaled by ancient trees, or by creatures now long gone. In that way, every breath is shared across time, across space, across species. So if you ever feel alone under the stars, remember, you are already part of their breath. You look once more toward the distant exoplanets. They continue their slow orbits, their atmospheres whispering to the light that touches them. Some may hold oceans, some may hold storms, and some may hold the faint beginnings of life, fragile, unseen, but real. The stars above hum softly, a cosmic lullaby of chemistry and time. You realize that the search for biosignatures is not only a scientific quest, it's an emotional one. It's the desire to recognize ourselves in the great, quiet mirror of the universe. To know that we are not the only ones breathing. As you drift onward, you feel lighter. The weight of uncertainty no longer feels heavy. It feels spacious. The not knowing becomes part of the beauty. The universe, after all, does not rush to reveal its secrets. It speaks softly, patiently, in signals of light and time. And as your eyes grow heavy, you listen, not with ears, but with wonder. Perhaps, somewhere, a planet is exhaling even now, its atmosphere trembling with life. Perhaps its sky is filled with dreams of stars, and perhaps, in your next breath, you'll catch a trace of that same air, shared across galaxies, ancient and eternal. You are drifting through the quiet dark again, and somewhere behind you, the golden star fades to a spark. Ahead, a new light rises softer, bluer, like the first dawn after a long night. You follow it gently, drawn not by its brightness, but by its promise. This is where the search turns inward. After wandering through the wild diversity of alien worlds, the icy giants, the molten orphans, the hidden seas, you now look for something familiar, something that feels like home. The astronomers call them Earth analogs, or Earth-like exoplanets, worlds that might mirror the delicate balance of our own, not too hot, not too cold, cradled within what scientists poetically name the habitable zone, but beyond equations and distances. This search is really about longing. It is a reflection of our deepest desire to find somewhere in the infinite another blue world breathing beneath a sun. You move closer to a small yellow star. Its warmth is calm, its light steady, not too fierce, not too faint. Around it, a few planets circle quietly, each at a different distance, each carrying its own story. The first is too near, its oceans boiled away, its surface shining like glass. The second is too far, its air frozen into thin crystals that drift like snow. But the third glows softly with a color you recognize, the blue of scattered light. You approach slowly. Clouds drift across its face like whispers. Its continents gleam with reflected sun, and its poles shimmer white. For a moment, your breath catches. It looks like Earth, and yet it is not. Scientists have found many such worlds, planets like Kepler 4-5 to be TOI 700d and TRAPPIST-1e, each orbiting distant suns, each resting within that fragile ribbon of temperature where liquid water could exist. They are sometimes called second Earths, though none truly are. Each one is unique, shaped by its own gravity, geology, and time. But still, their resemblance moves something deep within us, because to find another world that could hold oceans, clouds, and maybe life is to glimpse the universe's reflection of our own story. You drift closer still to your imagined mirror Earth from space. Its oceans shimmer a deep, calm blue, but as you descend through its atmosphere, the light shifts gold and silver mingling with soft haze. Perhaps its air is thicker than ours, or perhaps its sunlight filters through different gases. The winds are slower here, the clouds more luminous. Rain falls in long, glittering strands, evaporating before it reaches the surface. A world forever misted in suspended motion. You land near a coastline where the ocean breathes gently against alien sand. The waves sound almost familiar, but each carries a subtle dissonance, a rhythm not quite Earth's, a harmony just beyond memory. It feels like visiting a dream of home, something both intimate and strange. To understand why such worlds exist, you look to the laws of balance that shape all life. Every planet is the result of a fragile interplay between its sun's heat and its own capacity to hold it, between gravity's pull and atmospheric escape, between chemistry and time. The habitable zone is not just a distance, it's a moment of equilibrium, a delicate pause between fire and frost. Earth, by cosmic luck, rests within that pause, close enough to stay warm, far enough to avoid burning. Our oceans, our air, our forests, all are products of that narrow grace. If there are others like us, they too would be children of balance, born between extremes, sustained by chance. You think about how astronomers find these mirrored worlds. They cannot see them directly, they see only their shadows. As a planet crosses in front of its star, the light dips slightly, a cosmic heartbeat repeating every orbit. From that faint pulse, scientists infer a planet's size, its distance, its rhythm. This technique, called the transit method, has revealed thousands of worlds. Each small dip in starlight is a hint of a planet passing before its sun, a whisper across light years, saying, "I am here." And yet, what they long to see is not just another planet, but another sky. A sky with clouds and weather, perhaps lightning and rain, maybe even the shimmer of auroras. A sky beneath which something lives and breathes. You float above the mirror Earth's oceans. Below you, sunlight dances in waves, just as it does at home. But beneath the surface, the water glows faintly with a green hue, perhaps from plankton-like organisms, perhaps from minerals. Tiny creatures drift translucent, feeding on light that has traveled 100 million years. They move slowly, dreamlike, their patterns of life repeating across galaxies. You realize that if life has begun here, it is not a copy of ours. It is a separate expression of the same universal impulse, the urge to organize, to adapt, to persist. Maybe that's what life truly is, the universe learning to see itself, again and again, through different eyes on Earth. Every landscape is shaped by this balance, deserts by dryness, forests by sunlight, oceans by temperature and salt. Here, to you, imagine diversity. Mountains wrapped in cloud, rivers flowing through pink stone, forests of strange geometry. Perhaps creatures here have evolved to feel the slow rhythm of a dimmer sun, to breathe in gases that would be poison to us, yet essential to them. You find peace in that difference. The mirror does not need to reflect us exactly. It only needs to remind us that we are not unique in the longing for continuity. Life, wherever it blooms, is an act of symmetry, the universe repeating beauty in infinite forms. You look back toward the stars, where thousands more of these possible Earths drift in invisible harmony, each one a potential cradle of memory, a potential home for thoughts, songs, and dreams. Astronomers believe there may be billions of such planets in our galaxy alone. And if even a fraction of them breathe, the night sky becomes not a silence, but a chorus. It's humbling to imagine that right now, perhaps another world is watching its own stars, wondering if someone else is doing the same. Two civilizations, separated by light years, looking into the same mirror from opposite sides. You think of home now, your own Earth, suspended in the black, fragile, and bright. Seen from afar, it too is just a pale dot, one among billions. And yet, for all its smallness, it carries everything you love. That's the quiet truth of this search. We look for other Earths, not just to find them, but to remember what we already have. To see our own planet with new tenderness, knowing how rare and precious balance truly is. In the reflection of distant oceans, we rediscover our gratitude as the mirror Earth fades behind you. You carry its image with you, the color of its seas, the shape of its clouds, the rhythm of its light. You realize that every world, every reflection, adds something to the understanding of life's vast design. Perhaps there is not just one Earth, but many, each a different note in a greater harmony. Some bright, some dim, some sleeping. Together, they form the melody of existence itself. You breathe deeply, letting your mind settle like dust on still water. The stars above you shimmer, countless and calm. The search will continue through light and time, through equations and dreams, because curiosity, too, is a kind of gravity. It pulls us forward, gently but irresistibly, toward the next horizon. And as your eyes grow heavy, you think of all the unseen Earths spinning quietly beneath distant suns. They are not strangers. They are reflections, shimmering fragments of the same cosmic soul. The universe looks back at itself through them, and through you.